Welcome to another edition of Blending the Family, the podcast. I am your host, Tommy Maloney. How the heck are you? You having a good day? Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening. Thanks for downloading. Thanks for sharing, caring, and anything else that rhymes with those things. On this episode, it's a very unique, different, and here's why. If you're a solopreneur, there are times where you have to have a day job. And this is where I find myself these days. I have a day job. Unfortunately, don't tell the bosses. And part of my day job is I have a commute, 3 hours, round trip, an hour and a half each way. And a couple of mentors of mine, Steven and Denise, asked, could you possibly, as you're commuting, maybe do a podcast as you're driving? And I'm like, I don't know. Let me take a look at my phone. Let me figure this out. And that's what you have on this episode. It's what I like to call driving while podcasting. And it's just a lot of thoughts. It's a lot of what I hope will encourage you, help you. It was a lot of fun doing it. And I hope I didn't bore anybody after you listen to it. But as I stated, there are times, again, when you're building a business to generate income, you still have to have the dreaded day job. Dun, dun, dun. And here we are. This, what I hope, is going to be a continuation of the podcast. What I normally do in my car as I'm driving, I listen to, and you'll hear about this in this episode, but I listen to Darren Hardy's program called Living Your Best Year Ever. And in my car, I have tons of CDs, Success Magazine CDs, National Speakers Association CDs, a lot of motivational CDs. So that's what I'm listening to on my way to work. But I thought, hey, let me take some advice from Denise and Steven, and, well, here it is. And if you like it, please let me know. If you hate it, still let me know. Email me, Tommy@blendingthefamily.com. That's Tommy@blendingthefamily.com. Without further more ramblings, welcome to the first episode of Driving While Podcasting. Hello, welcome to the first ever car rant. Rant in the car? Podcast in the car? Ooh, podcast in the car. Ooh, I wonder if I can coin that phrase. And can I say ooh a few more times? Hi, my name is Tommy Maloney. I am your host for Blending the Family, the podcast. And right now, I'm recording this as I'm driving to the day job. Dun, 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 dun. The dreaded day job. As a solopreneur, you know, there's sometimes you have to do what you have to do. And it is approximately 5:34 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. And it's dark. I'm not wearing sunglasses, and I don't have a full tank of gas, and I don't smoke. Blues Brothers reference for you fans out there. A friend of mine that, he became a friend. Somebody reached out on LinkedIn, wanted to connect. He's now a friend named Steven, who's also a solopreneur. He's in the tequila business, but he too has a day job. And one of the things he recommended for me was, hey, why don't you do more podcasts during the week? I'm like, I'd love to. Just trying to find, the time. And here we are. I have an hour and a half commute to the day job and an hour and a half commute back home. Except today is a pick up the boy, as the lovely ladies call their brother, Connor, the boy. And he has hockey practice, so it's going to be a little bit of a long night. But one of my intentions for the new year, for the podcast for January was to talk about things I've learned with some of our guests in 2017. And a big shout out first to all the guests on the podcast for taking their time. And please go visit their websites, their social media, buy their books. I just had a blast. And I love doing the podcast. And another mentor of mine, Denise, who said, what is it that you want to be doing? And I said, I could just do a podcast every day, get paid for it, major sponsorship, things like that. I love doing the podcast. And here we are, doing a podcast from the car. And I can't remember his name. I think there was a former, for you fans out there who remember the early MTV days, Mark somebody. I think it was Mark. Might have been somebody else. But I remember one of the early MTV VJs who got into podcasting very early into the podcasting world. And that's what he was doing. He was just doing a podcast from his car. 2017 was as far as the podcast goes, I'm not going to totally bore you with that, but like I said, it's going to be a bit of a car rant. And if you stick with me, I might say something profound. So please don't delete right now or skip. But again, I might say something profound on this trip to the day job. And we're going to talk about a little bit of a new attitude, something that changed my life last night. I forgot where I was going. So let me talk about that, because I forgot where I was going. Something about, I don't know. And you're probably sitting there banging your head going, get to the point, Tommy. Get to your point. It takes me a long time. It's like having a car in the winter. In the wintertime, it takes your car a while to warm up, right? So here we are. Last night, or actually yesterday during the day, my wife texted me and said, hey, do you want to go do some volunteering? I'm like, sure, why not? I love to volunteer. I love hanging out with my wife. And we had to go to the grocery store, get some fixins, as my good friends in the South would say. I miss living in the South. Cookeville, Tennessee, you rock. We picked up ingredients to help make burritos, and our responsibility was to bring lettuce, tomatoes, and cheese. And what we were doing, there's a homeless shelter here in our town of beautiful Greeley, Colorado. And we were feeding the homeless last night. And if you've ever seen the episode on Big Bang Theory where some of the gang went to work on Thanksgiving and helped feed the homeless, and Howard ends up doing the dishes, and then he gets to meet Elon Musk. Of course, I had to ask my wife last night, do you think there's a chance I might meet Elon Musk? She goes, you never know. Hey, you never know who you're going to meet, right? But it was more than that last night. And my wife didn't notice. I was trying to, after we were done, I had to hold it in because I was ready to just bawl. Because here I am, the sun's not even out yet, and I know I'm not the only one on this planet going to a place of work that all it means to them is a paycheck. And hopefully I'm in the right lane. Oh, gotta hit this stoplight. On your way to a job, you could be working the dreaded graveyard shift. Done that before too. But working the homeless shelter last night and just seeing how grateful
they were for a home-cooked meal. And I was just grateful to be there. I'm going to start crying again. Hold on, let me grab some coffee. But it's the little things in life that can really, really make a difference. And personally, professionally, 2017 was a rough year for our family because I found myself, my backstory, if you don't know, is I've been a corporate trainer for many eons, and the project I was on ended back in March of 2017. And one of the things that I love my wife about is she always tells me my head is always too far in the clouds. And I want to do this, I want to do that. But every year I come up with a word for the year. And my word last year for 2017 was execute. And I wrote a piece on LinkedIn Pulse, about how I failed 2017 of my word of execute because I didn't execute. I spent too much time waiting instead of creating. And maybe I'm not the only one. Maybe you're like that too. Maybe you wish things are going to happen, but if you don't move forward, or if you don't put things in motion, you're going to wait for a long time. And that's what I found myself. And I'm very blessed to have the job that I have right now. It's not in anything I imagine I'd ever do, but it's a paycheck. And people make fun of me because I'm really bad at my vision's getting worse and worse. And it's a good thing I'm driving. But I kid people, in all seriousness, though, that it's either pay for new glasses or pay for bills and the kids' sports. But going back to last night, I mean, here are men and women, all different age groups, who are struggling day after day. And there was one gentleman who was getting his burrito, and my wife said to him, "Hey, is there anything else?" He goes, "Yeah, you can help change my life." And part of me wanted to say something to the effect, well, you can change your life. You can do that. And the other part of me just wanted to give him a hug. And I should have just given him a hug. I'm so stupid. I'm a hugger anyway, so I should have. But so this article I put on LinkedIn, I also posted on one of the dad bloggers on Facebook. And I said within the posting that even though I really do not like the day job I have, it's driving me to do more things, to do things I want to do in life. For example, this is no secret, but one of the things one goal I have for 2018 is to finish up my third book, which is called My Dad's Advice at 5:04 a.m. which is based on a couple of things. One, it's based on my TEDx talk from 2015, and it's based on the unusual advice that my dad gave me when my son Connor was born at 5:04 a.m. And that's one of the goals I have for this year, is to get that book finished, because I know there's the possibility that if somebody reads that book, it could change somebody. It could, hopefully my words in a book will serve somebody. It could be you, it could be your neighbor, it could be somebody else. I don't know. But I firmly believe that we, you and I, and as I stated, I've been notorious for this, and that is I wait instead of create. We are very much creative individuals, and waiting for things to happen is not going to get us there. I do firmly believe we need hope, but at the same time, we need to be, as the word of 2017 was, and one day I'll maybe bring it back, but we need to execute. We need to, keep moving forward. We need to keep, what is it that you want to do? Is it a new job? Is it a new workout plan? Is it, how do you get your finances in order? You can't just do what you have been doing. And, for example, if you've listened to this podcast before or read things of my blogging or what have you, in 2017, my wife and I went through our church Dave Ramsey's course, and there are many tools that we are now implementing to help get us on a better financial path. And one of the things my wife was saying last night is, after we left the homeless shelter, is that one of the people helping was her boss. And she said her boss does a lot of volunteer work. And her boss was saying last night that one time last year, when she was helping serve food, serving there was dinner, and I can't remember what I want to say they made burritos too last year, and they ran out of food. So what she did was she ordered a bunch of pizzas. My wife was saying that's what she wants to do, but we don't have the funds to be able to help. And she was also saying that when her boss ordered those pizzas, it was relatively, expensive, but she's like, well, where they work, they're not going to they did not reimburse her for that. And I'm sitting there listening to this going, yeah, but she's okay with that. That's not why she did it. And my wife understood. She totally understood. But my wife's point is, and what my point is to you, is about having those financial resources to be able to help others, to be able to serve others, to serve your family. That's been one of my personal issues, that I haven't been able to serve my family this year as much as I wanted to, because of my stupidity of waiting for things to happen, hoping things are going to happen, miracles of things to happen, and they didn't happen. Why? Because I didn't put the energy in to make those things happen. And as I'm sitting here thinking about it, reflecting back on many of the guests from this year, and one of them is Marcus Aurelius Anderson, and he was a gentleman who went into the army and died not once but twice. And Marcus Aurelius Anderson put out a book in 2017 talking about that experience. He wasn't sitting around waiting for somebody to go, "Hey, that's a great story." No. He was making things happen. He did his TEDx talk, and from that TEDx talk, other things happened, and created this book that is out. I think I have a piece of hair that's bothering me on my face. I look at many of the moms, as they call them, the starving stepmoms, and those ladies putting together a daily devotional. They're not sitting around waiting; they're creating. And again, as I sit here and put my thoughts out there, going back to a lot of the people that I met last night, I somewhat feel, and maybe I'm wrong on this, maybe I'm being a jerk on this, but maybe a lot of them feel the same way I've been feeling, that if they wait long enough, their lives will change. And one young lady, and I mean young, probably in her early 20s, sweet girl, beautiful girl, and she was talking about how she wants to help others, but she can't do much right now in the situation she was in. And then she told the lady who runs the shelter, "Oh my gosh, I also might be pregnant." And I'm going, good for you, is what I'm thinking, but this is, is this really helping your situation out? And I don't know. I mean, I before I went to bed last night, I just laid there and prayed for all those people I met. And one day, their lives will change. But it's going to take them to want to change. One of the things I normally do on my drive to work is there's a program that I listen to, a CD program that goes along with there's a journal tied to it. It's from Darren Hardy, who was the publisher of Success Magazine. So find Darren Hardy on social media. I know I think it's Instagram, it's Darren J. Hardy, but find, even on successmagazine.com, you can find Darren Hardy's programs, books. But the program I'm consistently listening to is called Living Your Best Year Ever. And with this program, you not only have your top 3 yearly goals, but it's broken down even daily, your goals. And as I stated, my big goal for 2018 is to get the third book completed, and I'm almost done. I have 12 chapters laid out, and the way I do speeches and the way I'm working on this third book is I mind map it out. And so I have a giant whiteboard in the home office, and in the main circle, so I take the middle of the whiteboard and I write the name of the book, and I put a circle around it, and then I branch off of each chapter and what I want to accomplish in each chapter. Even though the book is based off a presentation, the presentation was only 8 minutes long, and I put in more content as well from each chapter. I again forgot where I was going, so this would give me a good opportunity to take another sip of coffee. I hope you're still with me. Okay? Have a sip of coffee as well. One more. All right. So where are we at? All my Toastmaster friends are listening and probably going, "Oh, you said so again." You know what? It's okay. It is okay. If you listen to other major podcasts, and I'm talking James Altucher, Mark Maron, Tim Ferriss, Joe Rogan. Time to time people say so. Oh my gosh, you also say Oh my gosh. All right. 2017, great guests on the podcast. 2018, we're going to have even more great guests. I have one guest that we're going to talk about meditation, and even one thing I actually have a list. Do you have a bucket list? I actually have a bucket list. I need to add this to the bucket list, and that is doing a 10-day silent meditation retreat. And I'm drawing a blank, but one of the what's his name? Oh gosh, one of the co-founders of Twitter recently did a 10-day silent meditation retreat, and in the article, I think it was on Business Insider, and you can find it on Business Insider, about his experience, but also on Business Insider they listed the daily what's it called? Daily schedule. Oh, duh! Come on, Tommy, get with it. The daily schedule. But part of the retreat is obviously no cell phones. But I didn't know this at this particular one, and I thought, oh, this would be great. I could just go there, do a lot of writing, do a lot of reflecting, do a lot of meditating. And there's no writing, there's no reading. It's just all meditation. That's it. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't know if I could do that. But how cool of a challenge would that be to yourself? How cool would that be, saying, I did a 10-day no talking, no reading, no writing, just finding, I don't know, inner peace, trying to find yourself? I don't know. And that's why I'm super excited. The guest, her name is Spring, and I'm so looking forward to speaking with Spring about silent meditation, and it's all going to be part of, blended families and divorce, and how meditation can help you. I'm a big fan, and if anybody knows anybody at Headspace, I would love to have Headspace as a sponsor. I love the Headspace app. Yes, I'm promoting Headspace. Love the app. I love the Andy, who is the co-founder of Headspace. He's a former monk, and he has such a great calming voice, and I feel so refreshed after the truck next to me. That's what the sound is. But after just a 10-minute meditation, I just feel so refreshed. And yeah, that's one of those struggles where you try and stay focused. And one of the things that I do during the meditation is when it's nicer, I do it outside. We have a tree in our backyard, and anytime I find my mind wandering, I just focus on that tree. I put the picture of the tree in my mind to just stay focused and keep my thoughts somewhat contained in my head. So again, if anybody knows anybody at Headspace, I would love to have them as a sponsor. That would be cool. That would be cool to have a major sponsor for the podcast. And that's one of the things that, as a solopreneur, we need day jobs to, for example, to support the podcast, because without a job, I couldn't do the podcast because it costs money. Not a lot, but it costs money to produce the podcast, to get the podcast on the platforms of Spotify, iTunes, Stitcher Radio, iHeartRadio, SoundCloud. So even YouTube, podcast is on YouTube. What else can we talk about? What else? Because, let's see, probably halfway there, maybe? I don't know. I don't keep track. Maybe let's talk about 2018. What is one goal that you want to accomplish 2018? What is it that it's 2018, it's December 31st, you're getting ready to celebrate 2019? What is the one goal that you can imagine right now that you achieved, and because of achieving that one goal, it's going to carry you into 2019, and because of achieving that goal in 2018, it's going to carry you to 2019 and 2020 and 2021 and moving forward. Instead of waiting for it to happen, you created it. You did it. You've asked for help, and I don't know, is it still a guy thing? I know for me, I struggle with asking for help. There are times where I'm too embarrassed to ask for help, and I guess maybe this is God's way of smacking me after last night. Here are people that don't have anything, and they're asking for help, and it's okay to ask for help. It's you never know what asking for help can do to you. For example, I talking about my friend Denise, and if you are on the social media, You can find Denise at the name of her spa is Rock Salt Spa. So Rock Salt Spa, and she's going to be opening up her new location in Centennial, Colorado. I think it's Centennial. I think it's Centennial. Anywho, I asked Denise for help. I needed some guidance. And this is where earlier I talked about, what is it I want to do, and doing a podcast 5 days a week would be my ultimate dream, to be able to have a podcast with really good content. Not like this one where nobody's listening right now. So I'm gonna have some coffee. Oh, good coffee this morning. Homemade coffee. Whoop, whoop. Got the coffee mug caught on my headset here. There we go. Remove the cord. Stuck. There you go. Rock Salt Spa and Denise, and I needed some perspective. And Denise asked me, what are my goals? And I told her my goals. And one of them is very, very large. It's a huge financial goal that I want to achieve. And one of the things that she talked about is something that I like to use an example is Dr. Wayne Dyer and Dr. Stephen Covey, in a lot of their messages, talk thinking from the end. So thinking from the end. So you've achieved that goal, but how did you get there? What were the steps? And I told Denise this big financial goal I want to achieve in 2018. And she's like, well, did you work backwards? And of course I didn't. Simplest step, work backwards. So how can you achieve this financial goal? What are the steps? And as I'm sitting there listening to Denise talk, one of the things that kept popping in my head is, I'm waiting for this to happen. And that's where the Darren Hardy CD and journal are trying to help me achieve those goals, because I write down in this journal not only my top 3 year goals, my top 3 goals for the month, and then my top 3 goals for that week, and then I break it down goals daily. In order for me to get to this number, this X we'll call it, by 2018, well, I need to make X amount of money daily, weekly, monthly, you can even say quarterly, to get to that year goal. And today being January 5th, which is also, just a side note, we don't celebrate, but this will be our monthly, my wife Ann and I, our monthly wedding anniversary, if that makes sense. Got married on the 5th of the month in 2012. Today being, I'm in a new year, I'm 5 days behind, and I'm behind on many of the goals I have. And this is where, speaking to Denise, and maybe this might be, something obvious, and that is an hour and a half commute going, hour and a half commute coming home. My energy level is, and I'm not griping here, but I'm just putting it in perspective. you might be in the same situation. I read an article where there's a lady who has it's a 6-hour round trip commute, so 3 hours in California. But by the time I get home, there are things I need to accomplish, and I don't do it. And that's laziness, in my opinion. I'm late. I can be lazy, too lazy. Sip of coffee. Doing things to get me to my end goal. As I've talked so eloquently this morning, is the doing. Making it happen, not waiting for it to happen. And that's where I need, and I'm hoping that maybe this episode will help you as well. Again, not to sound like a broken record, and if you're too young to know what a record is, Google it, YouTube it. But it just boils down to making things happen. And one of my daily goals is to write, 500 words a day. Now, today is 5 days into the new year, and I have spent 1 day working on the book. So that puts me at 2,000 words behind. And if my goal was to be completing the book by the end of January, and I had broken that down, that it would take me approximately 18 days writing 500 words a day, the book would be complete. Now I'm 2,000 words behind. It still gives me a little bit of leeway as far as 18 days, 30 days in January, 31 days in January. I don't have a calendar in front of me because I'm driving. Anywho. But this is where a lot of us fall into the trap of the last thing we want to do when we get home from work are our side hustles, our side gigs. And that can even fall into, unfortunately, getting home from work and your kids want to spend time with you and you're too tired. And I learned that the hard way. I took my time with my son Connor for granted because I always thought I was going to be married to his mom forever and ever. Come on, until death do us part? I think there's some fine print when you sign your marriage license, but that's another podcast. Anyway, I took my time with him for granted because I went from, being in a house every day to I had taken a job towards the end of that marriage where I traveled and found myself divorced and not seeing my son every single day, and that hurts. And I regret those times. I miss those times of being able to, come home and play Legos or play Matchbox cars or just going to the park or going for a walk, things of that nature. So don't take your time with your kids for granted. You never know. You never know. I mean, if you ever listen to the podcast about how the death of Chester Benningfield from, I know I'm mispronouncing his last name as I think about it, but the former lead singer of Linkin Park. I was deeply, deeply affected when Chester passed away because his music, Linkin Park's music, not only influenced me, but influenced Connor, because if you ever saw the first Transformer movie. Linkin Park has a song in the soundtrack. And Connor would love watching the music video of that over and over and over again. And when Chester passed away, that deeply hurt, because I knew not only did Chester have family, he had kids, and but I bought Linkin Park CDs to listen to in the car with Connor because I knew he really enjoyed their music. And don't sit there and go, well, Linkin Park has foul language. Shut up. It's okay. You know what? That's why we have the Fifth Amendment. Freedom of speech. Freedom of speech. Freedom of podcasts. Freedom of Linkin Park music. There we go. Sorry, changing lanes. Trying to focus here. Trying to focus. All right. You know what? As we focus, let's have a sip of coffee together. Let's clank our coffee mugs together. There we go. Cheers, clank. My recommendation, and I learned this from a mentor of mine, Jonathan, when you make coffee, you can do this one of two ways. And the way we do it at home is we put the coffee into the coffee maker. Anybody know anybody? I think do we use Maxwell House? I think it's Maxwell House. Or is it Folgers? Oh, crud. If anybody knows anybody at the coffee people, sponsorship. Sponsorship. I put 4 scoops of coffee in. And then I put grounded cinnamon into the coffee. Because cinnamon, there's so many benefits of cinnamon for you. And that's one way. My friend Jonathan, what we would do when we traveled together and we would have, when we would make coffee at other people's job sites, we would be making the coffee. He and I would actually, we would go to Mexican grocery stores, Mexican markets, and buy Mexican cinnamon sticks. And then you would put the cinnamon sticks in the coffee pot. Highly recommend it. It's so good. So good. Putting cinnamon in your coffee. I remember I was working on, I can't remember the project, and this is why this is a rant, because I totally forgot what I was talking about earlier. Now we're talking about cinnamon. But I was at one job site, and I can't remember. I want to say, if anybody's familiar with BJ's Warehouse, I was making coffee, and I asked somebody, I go, because it was in their break room, I go, you guys have cinnamon here? And they're like, yeah. I go, cool. What do you need cinnamon for? I said, oh, I'm going to enhance your coffee today. And I did. I put cinnamon in their coffee, and people, I would tell them, I said, what do you think of the coffee? And they go, this is good. I go, it's made with extra love. They're like, what? I go, there's cinnamon in there. Like, oh, this is really good. I'm telling you, put cinnamon in your coffee today. Or right now, go to your coffee maker. If you've already made coffee, I know it's a waste. Go dump it out and go make a fresh batch with some either cinnamon sticks or ground cinnamon. Okay? Go do it. I'm not going to wait, but go do it. All right, we're getting ready to turn. One moment, because I got to see the turn lane, the left turn lane. There we go. This light that I'm about to turn on it's fickle, because there are times where you're sitting at this light and the left green arrow, some days it works, some days it doesn't work. And then if there's a train, because there's a train crossing over here, if there's a train, you don't get the left arrow. And so you could be sitting here until the train's complete, and it's ugly. It's ugly, folks. What else can we talk about in this rant? So we've talked about serving others. We talked about instead of hoping things, and I do believe, I honestly believe, as long as you're doing something to accomplish goals, it's okay to hope. But waiting around and incorporating hoping, things are not going to change. Your life is not going to change. One of the things in the Living Your Best Year Ever, Darren Hardy talks about an interview he did with Dr. John C. Maxwell, and how, crap, I totally forgot. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. So sorry. John C. Maxwell, hoping. It'll come to me. But one of the things I want to write about, again, on LinkedIn Pulse, and you can find me, Tommy Maloney. I think it's the Tommy Maloney on LinkedIn. But one of the things I want to talk about are situations like this. If you have a long commute, be it in your car or be it taking the train, that's the one thing I miss about living in Chicago, is being able to take the train to the city. And that is great opportunities to learn things. And so if you do have a long commute, putting audio programs in your car, learning, you can learn so much in your commute. You can learn, business ideas and entrepreneur ideas and sales and different languages. You can learn so much in your car, in the train, on an airplane, for example. Many years ago on one project, every Sunday, I flew from Denver to LaGuardia. And to all my East Coast friends and family, oh my gosh, that storm that's hitting right now, I'm definitely praying for all of you, and especially people in, for example, South Carolina. I've heard that you're getting snow and there's no snow equipment. But back to my point is, even on those flights from Denver to New York, I always had my laptop out and I would write. And if you're not familiar with, because like I've said before, I'm working on my third book. My second book was I just took a bunch of those early blogs, and a lot of those early blogs were written on those flights. And I put an ebook together. Why Not You, Why Not Me is the title of the book. And you can be creative even on long flights. And again, instead of waiting, creating. Be a creative being. And I know I've mentioned that before, but for example, today, well, here, let me tell you. So after this hour and a half commute, one of the things I do once I get to work is I have to decompress. I just have to take about a half hour. Yeah, on company time. But I have to take a half hour just to decompress. And one of the things I do is I write down the 3 things I am grateful for. So gratitude daily gratitude is huge in my life. Huge. Again, one of the things I will consistently write down in my little gratitude book is I am grateful, very grateful for having the day job that I have, because not only does it help pay for the podcast, but it puts gas in my car. It helps with, paying for some of the bills. It helps, with, quite honestly, it helps with my self-worth. Having that day job. As much as you hate your job, it has so many benefits, and so that's one of the things I am consistently, if I can speak English, consistently grateful for, is having that day job. So I consistently write that down, that I am grateful for this day job. So that's one of the things I do. Then the other thing I do is I go into the Living Your Best Year Ever journal, and I reflect on things that I've accomplished. So, for example, one of the things I didn't do yesterday is on my lunchtime, I go for a walk. I try to get my 10,000 steps in, and if you're in one of those cubicle farms, it's not always that easy to accomplish that. But I was able to on Wednesday, because on Wednesdays I pick up Connor, and they have not only do they have hockey practice, but before hockey practice they have conditioning on Wednesdays. So when he's going through not only his conditioning, but he's going through his hockey practice, I'm walking. So I know at least on Wednesdays I'm getting my 10,000 steps in. And then I try to find other opportunities to walk and just keep moving. I was close yesterday. I think I hit 8,000 steps yesterday. So that's one thing I'm going to notate as far as I did not accomplish that goal. However, it gives me another opportunity to think about, all right, what are other ways I can accomplish exercise? It's going to the gym at night. And actually, quite honestly, that was my intention yesterday. But when this opportunity of volunteering came up, I was like, I'm all for it. So those are the two things I do. I write down 3 things I'm grateful for, and then I go into my Living Your Best Year Ever journal and reflect on what I did the previous day. Part of the exercise, you're supposed to do it at night, but I like doing that in the morning, because again, that's part of my my decompression to get ready for the day, to get ready for the work day. So there you have it. So if there are things that you need to do, such as just taking that time, going to work, and you're at work and going, I don't want to be here. Well, be grateful, right? What are the 3 things you can honestly say you're grateful for on a daily basis? And then part of my bookends is I'll then, before I go to bed, I have another journal next to me on my nightstand of, all right, what are 3 things I'm grateful for during that day as well? We need to find reasons why we're grateful. We need to find ways to look at things with those gratitude eyes. As we're getting close to wrapping things up, and you're probably going, oh my gosh, I've stuck with you this long. You still haven't said anything profound. Sorry. Maybe it's the next, 20 minutes or so. We'll, oh my gosh, 20 more minutes? I don't know. But maybe I'll say something profound. But living in gratitude is, I think we as humans, maybe, I don't know, in my opinion, maybe we as Americans, we don't do it enough. We don't see the good. One of the things that Darren Hardy talks about is the, you're driving on the highway and there's an accident, and of course the nature of our being is, oh my gosh, when I get to the accident, I got to look at it. I got to see, what's going on. I mean, versus as I look to the east right now, I can see the sun is slowly starting to come up. My wife is perfect when it comes to, we live in Colorado, and we can, on the clear days, we can see the mountains. And the mountains are there every single day. It's not like, hey, it's Friday, the mountains are gone. They're, it's the weekend. They've gone to Bermuda. No, the mountains are there every day. And my wife is so, it's just fun to watch her go, oh my gosh, look at the mountains today. I mean, look at the snow up on the top, or look at the greenness, or just, that's, something I just love about her. The mountains are there every frickin' day, but she takes the time to look at them. On your drive today, on your commute today, what is something that you can do to just look at something you haven't seen before? I read recently about and I can't remember who, male, female, but on their way to work, they find that one thing, something different than the day before, and they stop and they take a picture of that one thing, and they have that one thing on their phone, and if they're having a rough day, they bring up that picture and put a smile on their face. What's that one thing today that you haven't looked at before and go, oh my gosh, I haven't noticed that? And hopefully it puts a smile on your face. And I've been more cognizant of the sunrises on my drive, because I want to see that sunrise. I want to be able to reflect on, today's a great day. Why? I'm above ground. Today's a new challenge. It's every cliche in the book. You never know who you're going to meet. You never know, who's going to call you today. You never know who's going to send you an email. You never know, as far as social media goes, who's going to now be your friend. And at times I'm good about this. Sometimes I'm bad about it. But if, for example, you get a new follower on social media, take the time to respond to that person and thank them for following you. If you're on LinkedIn, take the time. Here's one of my pet peeves about LinkedIn. And if you want to follow me, great. But here's what I want you to start doing. Because this is where LinkedIn has that. So you want to follow somebody on LinkedIn, and they already have that template all ready for you to just hit send. Change the template. Change it. Why do you want to follow that person? What is it? And it shouldn't be a one-way conversation. It shouldn't be a sales thing. It should be, you found something interesting, maybe some kind of commonality. And, for example, when recently, and this is where I need a couple hours in the day after I get home to just do this. But somebody followed me on LinkedIn. They read my LinkedIn post about the new year and goal achieving. And she changed that silly template in LinkedIn and customized it. And what she put in was, I really liked that article you wrote. One of the things I had put in there is about the writing just 500 words a day. And she said she is now going to implement that. I need to say thank you. And I haven't yet. So, again, when you are on social media and somebody follows you, send them a message of saying thank you. Thank you. Thank you for following me. Thank you for liking this. Thank you for sharing. Don't always make it about you. The world does not revolve around just you. Okay? And, I'm going to preach gratitude right now. Be grateful. There were days in 2017 where I didn't know how I was going to have enough gas in my car to go from one place to another. Point A being the home, point B being, maybe it's picking up Connor and then getting back to point A, getting back to home. I didn't know how I was going to do that. As the great Jim Rohn would say, praying helps a lot. And, that's one of the things that about 2017 for me was, 2017 I found my spiritual side. I found my faith. And I owe a lot of it to my wife, Ann. But the ladies of Starving Stepmom, check them out on social media, Starving Stepmom. They helped me because they both went through struggles in marriage, and they talk a lot about on the podcast about their faith, and that really helped me immensely. I'm grateful for those ladies. I'm grateful for them coming on the podcast. I'm grateful for Ashley Michelle because find her on Instagram, or go to the podcast in the show notes. You'll see her social media info. But she talks about how much faith helped her, and she talked about. And here's the really cool thing about Ashley, and if Ashley's listening, I'm grateful for what she did after I recorded the interview with her. She went on Instagram right away and went on her Instagram story and talked about how she said things in the interview that she had never spoken about. And I was so honored that she brought up such personal struggles and personal stories that I hope helps you. I hope it serves somebody out there. And again, it could be you. It could be somebody that you're going, my friend is going through a divorce, or my friend's marriage is struggling. This podcast might be able to help them, or this person might be able to help them. And as much as my personal selfish dreams of having a media company and running a media company and yes, making millions of dollars, billions of dollars is what I want to accomplish, but it's taking that money and being able to serve others and being able to, again, like my wife's boss, seeing the opportunity of, oh my gosh, we've ran out of food, instead of, packing up saying, so sad, too bad, what can I do at this moment to help somebody else? What is something easy I can do? Oh, I can just dial the local pizza place and place an order and help these people get some food in their stomach. There was one guy last night, that was his first meal of the day. 7 o'clock at night. That was his first meal of the day. I can't bitch anymore. I can't, all right, so we hear our kids all the time going, oh, I'm starving. You don't know what starving is. They don't. They don't understand it. But that's okay. And that's okay. And, here's something I am very grateful for my marriage. My wife Ann finds opportunities to serve. And as a family, there are times where we will go with her. 2 years in a row, we've helped her out at Toys for Tots. She belongs to Kiwanis, and there are times where we as a family will go to Kiwanis events and help serve in some capacity. Volunteer will it's not about changing your life, and it will. It's about changing other lives. It's about what can you do, excuse me, what can you do today to help somebody? I remember the John C. Maxwell. I now remember. And what he said was, until you change something daily in your life, you're not going to change. And I'm sure I'm paraphrasing it, but what can you choose to change today? What is something that you can do? And I'm going to paraphrase, and I'll screw up the quote again. But Eleanor Roosevelt talked about, what can you do that scares you on a daily basis? What is something that you can do today that you've never done because it frightens you? I'm one of those people. I am such an introvert. Such an introvert. As much as I enjoy going to the gym. For example, on Tuesday, Ann and I went to the gym and we went to the pool. And my body is built by food and adult beverages. So I'm not too proud of my body. I love going to the pool. I love sitting in the hot tub too. But the thought of going in public to a pool, I'm right now an overweight hairy bear, and that was something that scared me, but it got me out of my comfort zone, and I'm so grateful that my wife said, hey, let's go swimming. And I want to be able to have the physical fitness. And if you're aware of, I've gone through some physical problems these past few months. But going to the pool and realizing, oh my gosh, my stamina sucks. But I'm here. As much as it scared me, as much as I didn't want to put on this bathing suit that I've had for like 100 years, I did it. What can you do today? Is it going to the gym? Is it, speaking up at that business meeting or a board meeting? Is it, I'm a huge fan of Toastmasters. I love Toastmasters. Is it going to Toastmasters for the first time? And if you're not familiar with Toastmasters, it helps you with public speaking. To me, it's a lot more than that. I always tell people, well, what is Toastmasters? And I talk a lot about it, but it helps you with time management. Having time management skills is huge to have. Bear with me, I gotta change lanes. I'm in the right lane. I gotta get to the far left lane here on Tower Road in Aurora, Colorado, just south of the airport. We're getting close to finishing up. Oh, good. Stoplight. You know what? Maybe this is where we'll wrap it up. Let me stop the car. Hopefully I'm still recording for your sake. Gratitude, do something that scares you every day. Have fun in life. I don't know. If you enjoy this podcast, if you enjoy this time we spent together, I'm grateful for you. Other than that, I guess I am going to ask something of you, please, and that is please share this podcast. Please tell your friends. Please go on your social media. In the month of December, I had over 329 downloads, and that is the most I've ever had, I believe, on any of the episodes. So the month of December was fantastic, and I'm asking, and please share this podcast. We have books. Two of my books, and then our kids have a book called 10 Tips on How to Survive Your Parents' Divorce. Please, if you know families that have young kids that don't know how to communicate, their parents are going through a breakup, a divorce, and the kids need a tool. We have a coloring book that will help them. That's it. Thank you. Just thank you. And I hope you enjoyed this. Please send me an email, Tommy@blendingthefamily.com, Tommy@blendingthefamily.com, and let me know. Did you have fun? I had fun. I enjoy this rant. And to Steven, thank you for suggesting this. Denise, thank you for suggesting this as well. Great minds think alike. And we'll end it there. Bye.